Hello, everybody. Give me a shout out if you can hear me and if you can see me. Thumbs up, a wave, anything. It'll all work. Hi, Aurora. Hi, Barb. Hi, Pam. Hi, Katia. Let's see. Robin, how you doing? Janella, Jeremy, Marianne, Brenda. Wow, full house today. Kaylin, Katia. Awesome. Hi, Sansky. We're going to have a good crowd today. Kathleen, how's the weather your way? Hi, Teresa. Hi, Karen. Oh, we're roasting. I've decided I'm just going to turn this room into a sauna. Hi, Judy. I've got a mini air conditioner going over here. I've got a fan going up there. I've got another one going behind me, and it's not cool. So, yeah, they vented this room wrong. So when we take it in for service in November, I'm going to have them look at that and see if we can't vent it off of that second air conditioner. I can jerry rig it and run it in here and get nice and cool. I don't want to do that. Yeah, that's what I'm using. I bought one. See? And it does do the job, but it's 94 degrees here right now. Well, we've got humidity that's just choking a horse here, Barb. Yeah, he bought a second one. He's going to put it back over here so that it blows both ways. On the 80-degree mark to 85, it keeps the room cool. Just this little one, but once the heat index climbs, forget it. It's not no. If it ain't blowing on me, I can't stay cool. Hi, Bonnie. Don't inhale too deep. I'll drown probably. Hi, Sue. Everybody ready for class today? Did everybody download your little downloads? The 2 downloads. If you don't have to download them and print them, but you do need them accessible today. Yeah, you got humidity, but it's not hot enough. Awesome. Everybody hit that like button for me, okay? And if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. That way you will be notified when we go live or put up new content. Hi, Nancy. Awesome. Hi, Bev. We do have a full house today. Yes, we do. I just think it's great. By the way, folks, we do have super chats, super stickers, and there's another super in there. I don't know what it is. I can't remember. My brain's just, it's still at Tat Days, I think. Hi, Bridget. Hi, Jill. You can donate, and all donations goes to the running of the classes as well as the website. Okay. Keeps our domain name intact so that nobody can take our domain name, and replaces computers and cameras as they go bye-bye, you know how they die. Yep. There's some people forgot to hit that like button, because what it does is it throws our algorithm up higher. And the higher our algorithm goes, the more likely YouTube is going to give us better commercials. If you cannot donate financially to help the classes, then make sure you watch the commercials. Just walk away, go get a drink, go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do while the commercial's running. Let those commercials run, because we do draw pennies on a peanut with those commercials. So every penny counts, trust me. And once we get everything going and in motion, it'll take care of itself. And hopefully we'll be able to donate money into the Antique Pattern Library and different resources to help them out. Everybody is hurting right now, and I fully understand. So if you can't, just let the commercials run, and that is much appreciated. All right. We got about 4 minutes and we get started. I want everybody to keep Georgia and Richard in thought and prayer right now. Okay. They're having some health issues, so keep them in thought and prayer. They will be fine as long as we keep them in thought and prayer. All right. Hi, Mary. Hi, Harala. You've rewatched 40 videos of the tatting classes. Well, Aurora, you only hit halfway point. Not even halfway. We've got 174 videos up now. Pam, by the way, folks, all the new tatters, new needle and new shuttle tatters, Pam did a thing for you. What she did is she built 2, not 1, but 2 playlists for very beginner tatters. If you want to learn to tat with the shuttle, there's videos in that playlist step by step to take you through learning to tat with a shuttle. If you want a needle tat, same deal. Runs you right through there. Richard is her husband's name. They're not public yet. You can go ahead and make them public if you've got them ready. So, but yeah, anybody that is brand new to the game, those videos are going to really help you a lot. You don't get the distractions on those videos that you get in the class. So they will boost your knowledge. I try to keep the live separate from the others. Pam's going to be working on the YouTube channel. And once she gets it all set up, you'll be able just to go in there and knock yourself out. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. Hello, Mary Jane. I have been tatting myself, I'm going to say roughly about 16 years. I was a beginner all 16. I'm still a beginner. You'll understand that later on in life. By the way, Miss Mia is going to make an appearance. She just got back from the beauty shop. Come here, darling. Come here, darling. Come see Mama. Come on, you got your hair cut. Say hello to everybody. Oh, she's sneezy today. Oh, yes, it's okay. She just got back from getting her hair cut. And she's excited. We've been teasing her all day. She's going to the beauty shop, She loves to go get her hair done. She cannot stand her hair long. She pulls it out. So, yeah. Thank you. She's my sweetie pie. Just squirming right now. She's excited right now. She'll settle down and go to sleep for the next 4 hours. She had her hair cut in the bath. All right. It is now 3 o'clock. and it's time to start the classes. And what we're going to do is have a little chit chat to begin with, and then we're going to go on a down shot. And I'm going to show you all the little goodies I got on my desk. All right. First order of business is a lot of stuff I'm finding out students have questions on. They're not comprehending things, okay, as well as I would like for them to, but everybody has a learning curve. I don't care who you are, you have a learning curve. So with that said, if I need to slow down in my teaching, I will slow down. If I have to back it all the way up to the beginning, I will back it up to the beginning because I want you to learn. That is the key here. I want everyone to learn how to tat, not get frustrated. The walls do not look good with tatting shuttles or needles stuck in them. They really don't. Makes them look like a funny porcupine. I'm just saying. So with that, we need to concentrate on learning our techniques, okay? Now I'm going to constantly give you patterns. That doesn't mean you have to do them, but I would like for you to try those patterns. Why? Because you learn as you tat and you have something to show for your progress, okay? And with that, in 6 months, save all your little snippets, even the bad ones, okay? The ones you're going to throw away, save them. Put them in a zippy bag and just put them away and keep adding to as you go. And then in 6 months, you will be able to see how well you have done. Okay? And you're going to see your improvements. So with that, hi, Joanne. Hi, Deborah. Susan, you want me to explain the reverse turn and how to know which to use? We will get into that. Yes, reading patterns. Yes. And create a boo-boo book. Everybody needs a boo-boo book. What, you ask, is a boo-boo book? It is a book of all your tatting snippets that you feel are boo-boos. Now, you can use a notebook, you can use a journal, you can use any kind of book you want. Okay, here's one right here. This is just a journal book. You put your little boo-boos in the book. All right. And when you put your little boo-boos in the book, you glue them in there. And then you come back in 6 months and you look at the boo-boos. Okay. And you'll find out you have improved. Okay. But we're going to take this every week, step by step. The reverse work, the top of the element becomes the bottom. The bottom of the element becomes the top. What that means is, let me get you, maybe I got some snippets over here. Give me a sec. I'm going to pull out my snippet. This is my boo-boos. You're having trouble with the picks in shuttle tatting. Well, the picks in shuttle tatting can give you fits if you allow that. Okay? But today, we're going to learn the difference of things. Okay? And we're going to practice, practice, practice. Yeah, visuals. Okay. Let me get back in my chair. Now, this, folks, is the top of an element. Can everybody see that? Let me get it over here, right camera. This is the top. The bottom's down here where the chain meets, right there. Okay? Now, in order to do that chain, I had to reverse my work. So that meant I had to turn it like this, upside down. Okay? Yeah, we got pictures too. So then the bottom, which is up here, becomes the top, and the top becomes the bottom. That is reverse work. When you turn your work, all right, like the pages of a book, over, like this, okay? This is turning your work. Pages of the book. You're reading a book. You turn those pages. Rotate means you turn it a quarter turn, whether it be left or right. It does smell. It's got a pretty smell. Okay, so that is your reverse work, rotate your work, and turn your work. The two that we use most often is reverse work and turn your work. Okay, so turning your work is like turning the pages of a book. You're reading a book, you're flipping the pages. Reverse work, top becomes bottom, bottom becomes top. Does that make sense? I will not move on until I get a thumbs up. All right, we got some thumbs up. Yeah, older designers do use turn as a term to reverse your work. It depends on how old the pattern is. I got a pattern for you guys today. It's going to knock socks off. It's going to confuse you, and it's meant to confuse you. Okay? But I'm going to show you the trick. It's an easy pattern. It's just the way it was written. All right? Now, the person that said, I don't know which one it was, hook or pick. This is the pick of a tatting shuttle. Okay? Now, that pick could be one of these types of pick. It could be a crochet hook. If it's a crochet hook, turn it to the back. See how I got it? Turn it to the back of your hand. That way you have full control until you learn. Okay? Till you learn to control your pick, make sure you keep it to the back of your hand. That keeps it from catching on your thread and getting in your way and making you mad. And then you throw your tatting shuttles, and then you have artwork on the wall. Okay, we don't want artwork on the wall unless it's tatting. Okay, so no, turn your shuttle just like that. This would be the end of the shuttle, and there's your pick end. The pick end goes towards the hand. All right, next, reading patterns. That last week was hard on you guys, and I know it was. And then we had people they were trying to be helpful and throwing out answers, and that confused everybody more. Okay, so unless I call your name and I'm asking a question, a direct question, don't answer, don't confuse. Okay, but if I call your name and you don't know the answer, then I'm going to open it up for the gamut of tatters we have. And the reason it is, y'all remember when y'all was in school? I know it was a long time ago for me. And many people it was a long time ago. All right. When the teacher was giving you the lecture part of your class, she would ask a question. You'd raise your hand. Well, you can't raise your hand in here. Okay. So what I'll do is call somebody. I'll call on like Katia, because she does needle tatting. I'll call on somebody like Pam. I'll call on somebody like Tom, somebody like Jeremy, other needle tatters, because I am not a needle tatter. All right, you meant your trouble with picots in shuttle tatting. Okay, I'll get to that in a minute, Marianne. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Mavis. Okay. All right, Sue Hansen says, when dangling, say the second shuttle. When not using it, turn it so the pick hook faces up. It won't catch on stuff. And she's right. If it's dangling like this, it's going to catch on stuff. That's dangling like that. But if you make sure you fix it to where it dangles like this, it won't catch on stuff. It's less likely to catch on stuff. Let's put it that way. All right, now. Hi, Nikki. So, you're having trouble with picots in shuttle tatting. Are you having trouble measuring picots? Are you having trouble putting the picots in? What's the trouble. Because I'll be here all week. Not a problem. Right, Katia. The verbiage in needle tatting is similar, but not the same as shuttle tatter. Okay. And that's why when I try to teach 2 classes, it's hard on my needle tatters because shuttle tatting terms are different than needle tatting terms, but the same word. Okay, you're having trouble measuring them and then doing the next double stitch. Are you trying to measure them from just your fingers? Just, yeah, that looks good. Or are you using one of these fancy tools called the pico gauge? If you use the pico gauge, it will keep them precise. You are learning. Now I'm going to tell you, lay this to the side unless you're really adventurous. At this point, you need to learn your picos. Now, I am going to give you, using a gauge, okay, I'm going to give you an instant trick, okay? Because this thing gets fiddly. I don't care who you are, it will drive you insane. Even the single-sized, okay? They will drive you insane. What I would do, I take this pico gauge and I mark on my finger, either way you want to put it, with a pen, ink pen, okay, on either side of the pico size that you want. I lay it on my finger. I mark it with my ink pen. Then I put some clear nail polish on top of it. Seal it in. Guess what? You don't have to hold the pico gauge anymore. Your pico's on your finger. There was a tatter back years ago that had her finger tattooed with picos. And it was a pico gauge. And it went all the way up her finger here. Okay? And she had every size. And she had just little dots. And she knew what dots were what. Now, you can use henna tattoos if you want. It might come off with the inks. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't do henna. I don't have tattoos. I don't like needles. Okay. But take an ink pen. Mark your finger. Okay. Put some nail polish on it. And if you get the double stitch in there, you got it right. All right, Arlene, have you tried the Pico comb? No, Arlene, that thing would just drive me crazy because it's bigger than this. And, they're too expensive, honestly, for no more than what they would really do for you. I can just see catching it on my ring every time. Oh, Tasneem, thank you. She made her first ring and chain with needle. She learned from my demonstration. It was her first and last try. She's not picking it up again. Hey, you tried. That's the key. You tried. You tried. Okay, any more questions before we go down in the down shot? And at the end of the class, I have an announcement to make. Yeah, it's a fancy knit comb. I bought some knit combs, and they're about the same length. No. They just don't appeal to me at all. All right, there's no more questions. We're going to go into the down shot, and look at this fancy footwork I got on my desk. Now, it's a little dark. I got all my lights on, but I haven't got my new lights in. Let me zoom in on this. This is from This and Tat, and she's not around anymore. Her website, I went too far. Sorry if I make you dizzy. She's not around anymore. Her website's gone. This was in the files. I pulled it out of the files so I could share it with you. And it's now up on the website. Okay? So with that, when you print this out, read do read what she says up here. Lisa Trimble. I knew somebody would have her name. I knew it. Sue, you're a charm. Lisa Trimble did the This and Tatsy, This and Tat website. All right, so let's get on with it. Down here, move my thread out of the way. You see this sample here? Now, this is 3 versions of how tatting patterns today is written. You have what we call a diagram pattern. You have what some people call a run-on sentence pattern. Then you have the version 2, which is a variation of run-on sentence pattern. Most tatters of today, most of your designers will give you the diagram and one of these versions here for you to use to create a pattern with. Now, I want you to look at all 3 and tell me which one seems to be the one that you like best. Do you like version 1, version 2, or the diagram? We'll call diagram 1, and then version 1 and 2 be 1 and 2. Be diagram 1 and 2. Yeah, they are paragraph patterns, and if you don't know what you're doing, man, you can get lost in them things. I got a notebook I use. All right, we got to vote for 3. What's 3, Pam? The diagram? All right, Tasneem says diagram. Marianne says version 1. Barbara says version 2. So see, 2 and the diagram. We got diagram. Yes, 2 and diagram. You see how different people look at each pattern right now. You're seeing it. So when you get a pattern and you've only got this, you don't have that, you don't know what you're doing. New tatters don't. This you can get lost in, but there are people that prefer it because usually version 1 will direct you where to make your joins. Version 2 will not. And I'm going to show you tricks. I'm going to show y'all tricks, okay? But we're going to go through all 4 samples. Yeah, there's 4 of these little bubbies. And the further along we go, harder it is. So let's look at the next one. The next one is going to be a little bit harder for you to understand. Okay. Whoops, we can't see that. And here we go. There's version 2. Now tell me on here, the diagram, version 1 or version 2? Roy, you're funny. Okay, we're playing with version 2 again. Yeah, most of the tatters, it's been around a while, Sue. The diagram is their favorite, and they'll take version 2 to rewrite the older patterns. Fred prefers version 2. Lord, I had to jump there. All right. Are we ready to try the next sample? How about sample 3? Now, I want to know, does anybody know what that is? What is that, folks? Come on, you experienced tatters. You need to help these young'uns here. They're brand new to the game. Still 2. All right. No, it's not a bead. It's a Josephine knot. You're correct, Marianne. Nope, not a bead. JK with the number 10 means Josephine knot, and it's 10 half stitches. not full stitches, half stitches. A half stitch can be either the first half of the double stitch or the second half. What changes is the direction that it goes, okay? But it is not a bead, okay? Yes, the diagram is so helpful in so many ways. Now we're going to go more in depth on the diagram on this next version, because this next version has a lot of twists and turns to it. Let me move this paper out of the way. Y'all see that sample 4? Now, can you imagine to read this with your tatting in your hand? That is not going to help. Nope, that ain't going to help at all, because you're going to get lost when you look from here back to your hands. Now, the reason I say this is run-on sentencing is because there's no break in it. Okay, there's not a break in this wording, but it tells you right where to join. Okay, so when I get a pattern that has this, whether it has the diagram or not, I will circle, mark, I'll mark up this whole thing. Okay, because we got a long ring here, so, and it gives the directions. When it says reverse work, I would put a little hash mark there, follow that to the next end, and put the hash mark. You'll see on the next one when I go into it, okay? But this is the easiest way to know where your joins are. However, with this one, you don't know which one is a join. And usually your joining picots are very, very, very small, okay? So the only way you could tell is if they put a plus. But what if they didn't put a plus? What if they forgot to put the plus? The plus is join. So what if they forgot it? How would you know where to join? Well, go in there and put your little plus. That's why you read the pattern and look at everything before you move forward. That is the purpose of that. Has everybody got that now? The purpose to read a pattern is to make sure everything lines up and is in place. Right, you have to count the picots. That's why if you get a diagram with written instructions, you've hit the jackpot. Because you don't have to count the picots, because on your written instructions, it'll tell you. Okay, this ring here, it has 5 double stitches between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 picots. Okay, this picot is a joining picot. So it'd be a very small one. So, depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed, it doesn't matter. Remember, left-handed goes to the left, right-handed goes to the right. That's going to be the second picot. Don't care how you cut it, it's going to be the second picot that's the joining picot. All right? Then you go up here. You've got 3 picots separated by 4 double stitches. Then you've got 8 joined to this picot, 8. Okay. Moving on, you've got 3. You've got a picot here. So you're going to put in a tiny picot. So you're going to put in 3 double stitches there and there. So it'll be 3 double stitches, picot 3. Then we go up here. This is 1 double stitch separated by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picots. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 counts of the 1 double stitch with 6 picots. Okay? Then you come back out and you just follow that diagram. Yeah, it does. Because you can correct things before you fall into the pitfalls, and then you're sitting there poking holes in your fingers trying to get your tatting backed out. Nobody wants to lose thread, and they don't want to tie in ends any more than necessary, because it does make a thickness in your tatting. I don't care how tight you pull it. It is going to still show where your ends are. Yes. Most of them don't have direction arrows. Diagrams that have a symbol where to start and direction arrows are much easier to read. Those are found usually, actually, this will blow you guys' mind. Those are usually found in the foreign patterns. You know why? Anybody know why the foreign patterns give that kind of information? It is because people all over the world work their patterns. Okay? So they want to make sure that they know how to work the pattern. You may not be able to read the words in the book, but you can at least read the diagram patterns. Yeah, in case you can't read it. I don't speak French. You hand me something written in French, I'm not going to know what it's saying, but you hand me a diagram that's a French pattern, bet you I can read it. So you need to learn all ways to read a pattern. All right? Has everybody got that? Any questions? Any question at all? In the directions LR and SR. All right, LR, you'll teach me French? Oh, cool. SR is split ring. Okay. LR, I'm thinking you was thinking LJ. LJ is lock join. Okay. LR, I'm not even sure. I've never heard of LR unless it's lower ring. Okay. Now for beads, all right, this is where it can get scary when working with beads. Some tatters will draw a circle for a bead. Okay. Some tatters will draw several circles for beads. Okay. Yeah, large ring and small ring. No. SR is always split ring. LR could be large ring, but there's no set term for LR. So that's what I'm saying. I do good to read English, Sue. I'm just saying here. Okay, now, if a pattern has 3 rings or 3 circles in it, what does that mean? Anybody know what 3 circles in a pattern mean? No, there's no split ring in this pattern. You speak rubbish. Shame on you, Sue. Okay, anybody know what the 3 circles mean? No, it means beads. Now, if they were up beads on the upper half of the core, it would have an arrow. If it was down beads, it would have an arrow. It would be an up arrow or a down arrow for your beads. And yes, it would be 3 beads. Now, they'll put, follow me on this. We've got a chain. We've got a bead that sits here and then a bead that sits here. And then on this picot, we're going to have another bead. Okay? That right there can confuse you. When we get into beads, I'm going to explain all these pretty pictures that I'm scratching on here. Okay? Now, which example says split ring? Yeah, this one here, she's right. The last example, Kendra is right. This ring here is a split ring. Why they did a split ring, I don't know. Because you could easily do it as a regular ring. So yeah, right there it says split ring. That's this. We see it. It's this one. And it's because of the picot, it's going to join over here on this element, I guess, another element. So, but these are all samples. Now she goes in to continue on to tell you all this information of different stuff that's used in patterns. And we're not going to go into that. Right. We'll get into beads later, so let's don't confuse them any more than what they already are. Okay? But when we get into beads, you're going to have a lot of bead workers in here. All right? So when you get into beads, we'll discuss the bead situation. All right? But right now, we want to learn to read patterns. That's all we want to do. If you run into a pattern, you find one, you say, I want to do this pattern, and you find out that it's a little more difficult than you're able to do right now, give it time, lay it to the side. What I did was I would find patterns in my travels, and I would say, oh, I'd love to be able to do that. And I would try it. If I found that it was just too difficult, then I would lay it to the side, put it in my little book of I want to do's. Okay? Some people call them whips. It's work in progress, but you haven't even started it, so it can't be a whip. Okay? But I have a binder that I put all this stuff in, and it's got all the patterns in it that I want to do. I've bought books that's got, excuse me, it's got patterns in the books that I want to do. I've bookmarked the pattern, and the book is with my want to do file. And as I went from point A to point B, I would always go back through my want to do pile. Okay. Most of the patterns I can do right now. The problem is I don't have time to do those patterns. But try to make time, because you will learn so much the more you do. The more you tat, the better you get. Thank you, Teresa. But yeah, tatting is not complicated, folks. It's really not complicated. Now we're going to go through our pattern today, and then I'm going to give you all some treats on some research I did today. Okay? And I'm currently working on that with someone that we can demonstrate. Okay? But it's fun information for you guys. Now, this is called Knott's Heart by Mary McCarthy. Now, this was done back in 2013 with the classes. And it's a cute pattern. It really is. I love this heart. I really do. It's so simple. It really is simple. The problem is her instructions. Okay. Now, give me all my papers here. My fingers ain't working. Hands are dry. All right. She has got us starting this pattern here. Okay. Over here on the left side of this heart, which, you know, it's fine and good. And the reason she's got you starting over there instead of starting here is she wants all of this to tighten up. Now, if you started here and did this one and come off with that chain, you're going to have a bad case of gaposis right there. Okay? So you don't want gaposis. Anybody know what gaposis is? Yes, you're right, Tasneem. Yes, Palmettos does have a terms list on their website. I'll get that for you guys and put it in there after class. I didn't want to put too much because I'm going to blow your mind in a little bit. Okay? But That is the purpose of her starting this pattern over here. Okay. She did not want the gaposis here. Okay. Gaposis is when you work two rings together or a ring and a chain, and you come back and you got this tiny gap, and it's between elements. And it is a sore thumb amongst professed tatters. I'm just going to say it. We are picky. Okay. You don't want the gaposis. There are several ways you can eliminate it, and I will teach you how to eliminate all the ways you can. The best one, the one that is my favorite, use a bead. It'll get rid of it every time. All right. But we'll work on that later down the road. Okay. Now, her pattern is written as run-on sentences, as you can see. And I went through and I just started. I was like, yeah, this is the way I would do. Don't be afraid to mark up your patterns, folks. It's not going to hurt them. Because if you like this pattern after you tat it, your notes are there. Okay, don't throw away your patterns. Print them out, keep them, especially if it's a pattern you like. Okay, make your notes on it. Do your scribbles on it. Yeah, I tried this, and this is what happened. Make sure you do this. And then when you come back and you say, oh, I want to do that hard, it's going to work for something I need for a special occasion. Okay, you got your notes. The work's done. Then you just got to pick it up and start tatting. All right. So don't be afraid to mark your patterns up. I mean, we all have pens, and make sure that the pen is something that will draw attention to it. Okay. Yeah, you could do the first draft with Post-it notes, but again, you know, it's paper. Now, I'm not saying put phone numbers and stuff on it, okay? But if you've got notes as you're tatting, this is the first time we're going to tat it, and this is the problem I ran into, and this was my cure, okay? Make those notes. When you file this in your binder or whatever you keep your patterns in, you got your notes with the pattern. You're not second guessing yourself at that point. And when you tat it again, you may run into something. You say, wait a minute, I learned this. This can change. And I can do this with it. Do you see? So here we got, she's got us doing a ring, reversing our work, going into a chain, reversing our work, and coming in with another ring. And then she wants us to do it so many times. Okay. So the best way to cure this run-on sentence is that's the chain we're going to do. And then we go into the next ring. And you want to mark them with a pen you can see at a glance. Because as you progress in your tatting, when you glance at your patterns, you're going to know, okay, I remember this, and it's going to click and you're going to go, okay? Sometimes I tat a pattern so much that I can do it by heart 50 times, you know, and it's because I use it for a specific need. So do not be afraid to mark up your patterns, okay? Now, if you want clean cut patterns, like Arlene said, do the first one as a draft with Post-it notes, and then mark on the pattern. Okay, make 2 copies. You see, it's easily handled. Now, I am going to share some stuff with you guys today that I think you will find very interesting. And I myself, I was like flabbergasted. How many of you know when tatting began? What is the history behind it? Now, Do you know where tatting began? Yeah, I've seen the transparent ones. They're cool. Actually, they did knotting before tatting. And it has been discovered in the 1800s is when knotting switched to tatting. You're right, Teresa. You're right. It was knotting in biblical times. And then in the 1800s, it changed to tatting. Why it changed to tatting, no one knows. But this lady has been doing some research, and I'm going to share links to her YouTube channel so that you all can go watch a knotting shuttle yourself in use. Okay, there's part 1, and here is part 2. Okay, now she also shared some information, okay, historical information that you all can go get. All right, read up on it because this is amazing. Okay, the best part is one of these was in our files. Of course, my email is pulling email. Go away. And then she shared this book. And this book has been in our files. And honestly, I hadn't sat down and read it for knotting. I just read it for tatting. And the Antique Pattern Library has it. And it's the Millie Riego book on tatting. Okay. Now, the knot is a double hitch knot. We call it a double stitch. But back then, that's the knot that sailors used. And they would take the leftover rope that they were using to make the nets to go fishing with, okay, and make little ornamental things to bring home to their wives. Well, it was knotting is what they were doing. And depending on what material they used, if it was linen, it was for household use. If it was silk, it was ornamental clothing use. And they carried their knotting in a bag that was decorated with all their knotted pieces that they had made. Beautiful bags. But the shuttle, no, they weren't. They weren't 12 inches long. I found out the history on the shuttle, and Veronica is going to make me one. Okay? Now, the shuttle is as long as your hand coming this way with hangover. So it's about 5 inches long, and it's half that size in width. The shuttles that the guys used to make the fishing nets were this long, and they had a little crook in it, I guess is what you would call it, where the rope would go on. Okay, and it would be about like this thick with this rope. But the knotting shuttles that the ladies used fit in their hands, and they were very ornamental. Most of them were made from steel. Okay, hard metals. Yeah, they had hard metals back then because they had to make boats, okay, and things like that. So they were made from steel, made from iron. Well, if you was appointed to do knotting for the king, you got a gold shuttle, knotting shuttle. Okay. But I've wrote Veronica about getting one made. You would think, but they didn't. It's time for another drink. But yeah, they used these knotting shuttles, and it was what they did when they went on carriage rides, when they had long trips. And they used these knotting shuttles because the movements were so graceful. Men were attracted to women that could not, okay, because the movement of their hands enticed them. A lot of women was favored because they could not back in the day. Okay. Nowadays, people look at us and say, "Are you crocheting?" No, we're not. Right. 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 Yes, Kendra, you're right. Barb, I'm going to start with you. Macrame and tatting do have a lot in common. In fact, macrame, as well as tatting, came from knotting. Macrame uses a few more knots than we use, but in the knotting world, their knots are related closer to macrame than our knots in tatting. Because in knotting, they use several different forms of knots. Okay? All right. And Kendra, she watched a documentary on ancient Portugal wives doing netting and doing decorative stuff to sell after they were done. You're correct. That's what the guys would do when they made the fishing nets. Yeah, they did lines and applique to the fancy jackets and stuff, mostly for the men. The men were always head of household, most finely dressed. Okay, so there you go. Right. Yeah, if you see some of the old paintings of tatters, you can see the size of shuttle. Now, the shuttles that they used when it switched from netting to tatting are, yeah, they were dandy blokes. I wasn't going to say it. You did it. You beat me to it. When it went from knotting to tatting, okay, the shuttles got smaller, a lot smaller. These netting shuttles, I mean, there's pictures date back to 1801 with a netting shuttle that, I mean, as big as this ball of thread. Can you imagine? I mean, mind blown. And it's the same knot, but they do it different. They come in at the backside. Shuttle, that was knotting shuttles, Jeremy. Those were knotting shuttles. Yeah, the blades got closed together. Knotting shuttles, the blades are flat. Both the top and the bottom blade is flat. They have a post in the center where your thread wrapped. Yeah, they were the peacocks. So watch those videos. I watched them today and I found it amazing. The connection between knotting and tatting, knotting and macrame. And the funny thing is, knotting came into tatting before it came into macrame. That's how far back macrame dates, late 1800s. Yeah, they're parallel. So watch those videos, enjoy them. She's done a lot of research. Now, a lot of her links down below her video, they don't work. The links have dropped or something, but you can find the information on all of this on the web. I've done just a little bit of research. I'm going to do more because I do find this fascinating. You have two shuttles that are knotting shuttles made of stainless steel, though they are small. I don't think they're knotting shuttles unless somebody had them made small. Knotting shuttles are about 5 inches long. When you watch the video, Mavis, you'll see how big it is. And they're about that wide. They're huge. But they were very decorative. Very decorative. They were intricately made. If you had a knotting shuttle, you came from money back then. I only do shuttle tatting too, Tasneen. But I did find the correlation between knotting and tatting so close that it was fascinating. And it brings into mind, she demonstrated a knot that is used in knotting that brought me back to coronation cord. Yeah, I can. Pam, can you copy those links and send them out? Found nothing that correlated with what various techniques. You're welcome, Brenda. Very welcome. Yeah, it is interesting. It just blew me away. Yeah, by email. All right. Do we have any questions, folks? It's almost time to end the class for today. You're welcome. Actually, Millie Riego's got some books out to talk about netting or knotting, actual knotting in her books, in her tatting books. Pam will post them in the group as well as email. Won't you, Pam? Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Nikki. So, no questions? I thought it would be fun to learn some information, some history. Mary, that is one of the things that bobbin tatting, or tatting with a bobbin will happen. You just have to learn to put it on the bobbin slower. If you can get it to work with your sewing machine, do that. Yeah, 3.5, 3 by a ½ inch. That was probably one of the fancy ones. They had made some out of bone and ivory back then. Thank you, Sue. Mary, put the bobbin on a chopstick and rotate the chopstick. That's what Sue says. You all are very welcome. I'm so glad you came today, and I'm so glad you enjoyed the class. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. If you're new, hit subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when we put up new stuff. You did. That's awesome, Bev. That's awesome. You all are very welcome. And I will see you next Tuesday. Y'all have a safe and happy weekend. And may all your threads never tangle and make beautiful lace. Happy tatting, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.